The Nintendo Freak asked if they pirated this game. Sir, piracy is wrong and you should be ashamed.
Alright, we've begun, and as you can see, we're using Pirate Mode, which is a sort of New Game Plus mode, which allows us to have all the abilities that we collected through the game in the normal mode, such as the dash, the sword, the hat, all of this stuff. It allows for much quicker exploration through the game, and it even allows what would be considered sequence breaking in the normal game.
That's right. In the story of this game, Shantae has lost all her half-genie powers, but over the course of the game, she picks up many of Risky Boots' pirate equipment, which gives her pirate powers, and that's what both of these players are starting with, which is why they're running so fast. This is the Risky Boots Pirate Dash. I don't know if it has an official name.
Risky Boots.
Risky's
Dash.
Boots.
Risky's Boots Dash, I guess. I don't know. I don't think any of them have official names out, only the items.
Yeah, I don't know, just call them whatever you like. I think people understand.
And as you can see, when we at the start, we've got a pike ball and an auto potion from Bolo there. Already using the pike ball to help get through this dropping area really quickly. And then as you can see, Mijati and Goofi both just jumped over what was the trigger there and skipped a few seconds of dialogue skipping. It wasn't much, but it's something.
Now they're coming across the Ammo Baron, the first boss, and one of the most annoying bosses because he's basically completely RNG based. How quick of a fight you have is not really up to you.
Though of course, since he's right at the beginning, most runs just reset if they get bad RNG, which obviously in a tournament isn't an option.
Right, so this could be pretty tricky for one of these two, for Goofi perhaps. Notice both of them, they're using their pike ball right here. This is one of the ways that you can shorten this boss fight from a 3-cycle to a 2-cycle boss fight. Make things go much faster.
And looks like both of them have gotten past Ammo Baron, and now more plot that everyone's not going to see because this game includes a very nice text skip option.
I mean, it's a pretty entertaining plot too, so it's a bit of a shame, but we do need to get to the running and the stabbing and such. Looks like Mijati has maybe like 5-10 seconds lead here, which is almost entirely from the RNG of the Ammo Baron, but it's a long race and Goofi can absolutely make up that time.
Oh, there's plenty of RNG to come anyway.
Mijati has just been captured in the trap tub, which, you know, is, of course you would be using a trap tub to capture your enemies, why wouldn't you?
Especially since Shantae doesn't actually have a tub, but yet she still used it for some reason.
Right, with, you know, Risky Boots just watching from the ceiling the entire time, as you do.
And here's the Cacklebat, which is a forced fight, but since we're doing any percent, we're not going to fight any of the others. There are a total of 20 in the game, which you have to collect to get the true ending, but in this case, it's just going to be the bad ending.
Right, we are not going to worry about any of the collectibles that we would in any of the other categories. It's just straight any percent speeding right through. It's a little bit of a shame because we miss out on the true final boss, which is really great, but I don't know, this seems to be more popular, so...
Gotta go fast.
Gotta go fast. Mijati, he's going to get a library card. He's a very studious speedrunner. Now he's going to duck down, and this right here is the one save that you are forced to make. You are actually not allowed to leave the starting area until you've saved.
Yeah, they do that in Risky's Revenge too. It's kind of weird, but I guess they want to teach you how to save.
Yeah, I guess it is a little bit unclear. Like, you wouldn't see this old guy and assume that he can help you save.
There, Mijati is running through to the next area, killing scarecrows to try to get some drops. He actually got a pike ball, which is great.
Let's see. Oh, he is just racking up gems right now, which is very good for him because your gems are going to be very important in this run because we're going to make a lot of stops at the store in order to buy items and maybe hair upgrades.
And Goofi got a pike ball as well, so they're even on that front so far.
Let's see. Oh man, Mijati I think just got a lot of flesh pops. There is a glitch. One of the glitches in this game you can do is you use your scimitar, basically wedge yourself between the ceiling and this little snake enemy, and it's possible for you to stab the enemy multiple times as it's dying and get multiple drops out of it, which is very interesting.
Goofi only got one, unfortunately.
Right, so he's gonna have to wait for this other snake to just sort of oh no! Oh, Goofi is in some trouble now.
And you can see Goofi making use of what we call the risky shuffle, which is, as I said, I call it an exploit, where basically you, in a shortened area, instead of having to go through the whole section of the screen, you can hold back and forth with the D-pad or the stick, and with the other thing, you just press left at the right time, and you can do a short charge, essentially.
Right, the game is sort of tricked into thinking you're moving in one direction constantly because you're holding a specific direction constantly.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
And you can do it with either the stick or the D-pad on either one. It's preference, really.
It's a little bit difficult to pull off because you sort of have to do a Monster Hunter claw in order to make it work. Mijati, it looks like he is all done with the Royal Palace. He got the map to the first proper level, and so he's going to make his way back and try and get a few more drops out of these skeletons.
And earlier you might have seen what you could consider the first sequence break. He got the, what's it called again? The brochure, travel brochure, yeah. And he gave it to the Squid Baron already to get the squid oil, which you actually couldn't do until after the first dungeon if you were playing normally.
Alright, there's going to be a lot of sequence breaking in New Game Plus here. Mijati, he just returned the library card, which is an optional step, but if you do, you will get $100, which is extremely useful.
100 monies.
100, yes, the official currency of Sequinland is monies, I forgot.
Although we usually call them gems because, you know, they look like gems.
Right, because Spyro is just such a memorable game, such influential.
And Mijati coming up to the first island, Saliva Island, which you will see why it's called that very shortly.
This is... I guess you do end up doing most of the actual story on this island, unlike some other islands where you can skip past basically everything. He's doing his shopping as well. The standard shopping trip here is a super pike ball for an upcoming boss and 3 pirate flares, which allow you to go from any outdoor location immediately to the boat, which lets you quickly leave a level without having to travel through it.
Which is very, very helpful. And here come Mijati is doing another great little skip. It skips a huge amount of circling around. And what's really neat about the way the cannon works in this game is that if you go through a transition like he did going up, you get to use another 3 cannons right away without having to stand on a platform again.
Right, so you can travel up this absurd distance that you're supposed to be falling down the entire way. So we're literally doing this level backwards. Also, this here is the saliva that Melodia was talking about. These waterfalls that everyone's about to jump into.
And swim in.
We missed something that Mijati did earlier. Hopefully Goofi will do it as well so we can point it out while it's happening. In the meantime, Mijati is coming up to the entrance to the first actual dungeon. Yes, right there. Goofy, you can see what he's doing there. As he's giving the ham stink, he pauses the game a few times. What that does is it causes the game to skip this dragon's blinking animation, saving several seconds. We don't know why it happens, but we're thankful that it does.
And now we're coming into one of the best secrets in the game, the recreation of Spittle Maze from the original, which is a nice little Easter egg. The reason to go in here is because you get a pair of keys, which you can use anywhere in the game that requires keys. They are not locked to single dungeons, so you get the keys now rather than taking extra time later.
It is an enormous time save. Speaking of time saves, Mijati, you can see he just used a food item at the same time that he collected a key. This allows him to skip the relatively long key collecting animation in favor of the short food eating animation, which will save him a couple of seconds.
And another feature of the game is that when you get to an untenable area, like, say, that water, you get sent back to the beginning of the room. Now, since the beginning of the room is the entrance, it's a nice little shortcut.
He just sort of death warps himself back. So Mijati is all done with the secret dungeon, while Goofy is just starting to enter it.
And as you can see, with that first key, he just skipped a whole bunch and can keep going into the depths of the dungeon.
Right. And now he's moving into this, I don't have a name for this room. It's the Fiery Head room.
The Super Metroid Homage room.
Right. Alright, that's the official name now. So now he's going to fight a couple of mermen, which can be a real pain in normal mode, especially if you don't have the cannon or the scimitar or anything like that. But with these items, it becomes a pretty easy task taking care of these guys, thankfully.
Yeah, these guys are hell in the normal version, actually. They're really, really annoying.
They are. They're like, I guess they're supposed to teach you to alternate between ducking and standing as you whip, because that's the best way to defeat them, but I never did figure that out for years.
And here's the first boss, the Cyclops plant, and hopefully Mijati will get the nice little quick kill, which will... Nope, he missed the first try. And got a second try. For phase 1.
Looks like he's in good position for phase 2, which is going to be pretty similar, but much more difficult to pull off. Oh man, he is doing it like a champ. He's basically getting himself wedged between the boss and the ceiling while using the scimitar for very quick, numerous scimitar stabs.
Had a little trouble at the end, but got it pretty quick.
Yeah, that was. I will say that is a good, solid Cyclops plant fight for Mijati. Good work.
Tinkerbacks?
At this point, probably a minute to a minute and a half behind, somewhere in there. But it's nothing insurmountable at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's still plenty of RNG if nothing else to come. And you never know what's going to happen.
Mijati's definitely avoiding the health power-up that he doesn't need.
Yeah, it's not just that you don't need it, but it costs plenty of time because of the fanfare.
Yeah, the fanfare and your dash gets interrupted, and you have to do it again in the middle of a bunch of dangerous mermaids. So that is not a collectible you want to collect at this point.
And it's coming up to the second island, Spiderweb Island.
Ready to go.
Goofy just had himself a good first phase of the Cyclops plant. But let's see how Mijati handles the ghosts.
These guys are really annoying, although this screen it's not too bad, and some of the later screens, ugh.
Goofy had a very nice Cyclops plant, didn't even get to the laser phase. That is going to catch him up a little bit of time compared to Mijati. That's good to see.
But Mijati now, almost to everyone's favorite part.
Ooh, I've been waiting for this. see how many times do you think he is going to get hurt?
Yes, Run Run Rowdy Tops is about to happen, and the way this one works is that you're essentially invincible, but if you get hit, you go back to the beginning of the room. But, so, you don't want to get hit. You have 0 hit points, essentially. However, you can die as many times as you want, and you'll never lose.
Yeah, the run is never in danger, but you could lose very large amounts of time in here. Like, one death could cost you up to 40 seconds if it's in the wrong place.
And runners like to make predictions on there's one, on how many times they'll lose. Wow, there's 2.
The gatekeeper is taking no prisoners today. So yeah, get your predictions now in chat. How many times is each player going to die?
Goofi having a little trouble with the ghost, it looks like.
Yeah, these ghosts can be really terrible because they can spawn in your hitbox and there is basically nothing you can do about it. Whoa, Goofi picked up a monster mill.
Also picking up the fossil, which again is a pretty big sequence break. You're not supposed to be able to get that until after the 3rd dungeon.
Yeah, I think there's only one object that we're forced to collect in order, and that's the Spirit of Joe. Everything else we can just sequence break like crazy. Alright, Goofi's about to get started with his run. Meanwhile, Mijati is you're sort of stuck waiting for these Mario World pillars to come up and down. There's no good way to speed past them.
Yeah, but once you know the patterns of where they're going to come up and down, you know at least can get the optimal way without any real danger. Until this tombstone room, which can be really annoying.
Yes, this is... These guys... like, there are only a few tombstones that can move, but when they get up and what direction they move is random, and they can present some really difficult situations.
And Goofi getting 3 hits on that first tongue there.
Oh no! Goofi is being gatekeeped like crazy right now. Alright, he's almost past the difficult tongue room. This room always really makes me anxious because it is such a tricky movement to sort of sneak past them.
Yeah, and when I do it, I usually go pretty safe on them.
Yeah, I never challenge the gatekeeper myself. In the meantime, Mijati is on the run from kissy robots who want to kiss him to death. This is probably my favorite enemy in this place.
They're pretty funny, though. Never thought of calling them kissy robots, though.
Well, I mean, it took me like 3 months to realize that that's what they're actually trying to do. I never noticed before then.
As for those white snake things, we have some affectionate names that we can't really talk about here.
But we sometimes call them Stevens. That's a relatively safe name. I don't know where it comes from. Mijati gets a nice taco jump over that second to last Steven, and now he's in the final room. So if he gets out of here, he's done with Run Run Rowdy Tops. But
yeah, this final room's pretty long, so and you can easily get smacked right at the end.
I have had that happen to me, and it is a huge time loss. Oh no, Goofi, what happened? You sort of stood still in the middle of a tombstone.
Oh, Mijati got hit in the middle of it. Yeah, the first time I went through this room, I think it took me like 20 tries.
That sounds about right. This is a very hard room. I think the death counts right now are at 5 and 3, but maybe I wasn't paying enough attention. Ooh, if you're quick, you can sneak past that one pillar that just stopped Mijati, but he decided to take it safe, and I do not blame him. But that is it for him. Mijati is done with Run Run Rowdy Tops. Well done.
Although you still have to avoid that cackle bat. If you forget it's there, you could actually run right into it. It's a small time loss. It's not a big deal, but it's still there.
That is 3 for Mijati. I think Goofi is hanging around at 5.
Just in time.
So yeah, that whole sequence in the story was pretty unnecessary. Roddy asked us to take her home because she got bitten by a spider and poisoned, but she's actually fine. She's just a liar, going to hell.
She's just lazy, you know, as zombies do.
Yeah. Well, this other zombie, he's not too lazy. Poe just fixed up this wagon here, which means we never have to go through that sequence again. Goofi just got his 6 deaths, unfortunately, but it's not a big time loss in that room, so it's not a big deal.
And now Shantae has the shriveled thing, which will open the next dungeon.
It smells. Oh, no, Goofi is playing it safe right now. And now Mijati is in the Cackle Tower, which is one of the quicker dungeons. We barely have to see any of it.
Yeah, in the normal game, you have to go all the way around, hitting these sort of Tesla coil things to open the wind, and it's, yeah.
Right, but the reason you have to hit all the switches is to go up, but because we have the cannon, we can go up as much as we want, so... Mijati taking this room slow, but he gets a pike ball out of it. And now he's gonna fight this bat lady in order to get one more key. Oh man, super monster move.
That is a great drop, because that's definitely something you want as early as possible.
And he uses a flesh pop to skip another animation. He's good at that. Got a little bit lost in the cannons there, but he's fine now. Yeah, now he's got all of the extra keys he's going to need for Tan Line Temple, which is the slowest part of the game, so we try and skip as much of it as we can.
Yeah, since we're doing any percent, you don't need to go grab the squid, so you could just pretty much go only through the first sequence that we'll talk about when we get there.
Is PC the preferred way to speedrun this game? It is a preferred way because of the really short loading times, but PS4 also has similar loading times, so that's another good way. And we haven't really measured the Switch version either, so that might become a good one.
From what I gather, the Wii U has long loading times, so...
It does. It's demonstrably longer. Not as bad as the 3DS, though. Here we go.
I don't remember the 3DS having it, but, you know, I haven't played it since I got the PC one, so...
3DS was the first version of the game. Anyway, Mijati here, he's used up a super pike ball, and he's facing off against the Empress Spider. What he's trying to do right now is basically get caught in the spider's hitbox, because basically if you whip and then take damage in midair, all of your jumps will reset, so you can just sort of hang around infinitely around this spider's hitbox doing damage, which is what he did.
And had a really nice, quick, clean fight.
Yeah, that was a very impressive Empress Spider. I'm impressed. Goofi, meanwhile, he got a Pirate Flare is not a bad drop, but it's not as nice as a Super Monster Melt.
It essentially will save a few seconds later on, but it's not a bad thing to have.
Well, I'll save him about 30 gems if he prefers that way, too.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Alright, so now Mijati is on to Tan Line Island, which used to be RNG Island back when I was running this regularly before I hung it up. Now we've cut a lot of the grinding and a lot of the RNG out of this area. So now we just have really good music to contend with.
Yeah, in fact, the composer Jake Coffin said this was his favorite track from the game.
Well, that's because he has good taste. Ooh, Mijati picks up another Monster Milk. That is going to be helpful against some of the bosses later. Ooh, Mijati, he is going to attack this Scorp gal.
The Scorpion Girl can either give up 5 gems, a Super Monster Buck, or a Super Pike Ball. Pretty much evenly from what I gather. Maybe the drop tables are slightly not even. I don't remember.
I never looked at the drop tables for sure, so I couldn't tell you. But they are probably the most generous enemies in the game. I should have phrased that much more differently than I did.
No, but they are a good, consistent way of getting Super Monster Bucks and Super Pike Balls if you need them. And you fight 2 as a course of requirement in the next engine.
Alright, so he's gonna get another shot at some of those drops. Meanwhile, Mijati, he's doing a little bit of story here. We're meeting and murdering, what's her name's boyfriend? Sky's boyfriend, real quick.
Barracuda Joe.
Yes. Like, this section right here, if we were allowed to do out of bounds glitch, we would just skip this entire thing. Ooh, Mijati is not going to the store. That's interesting.
Also, Goofi, unfortunately, used his auto potion, so he's not going to have that as a backup anymore.
Yeah, it's harsh. That is something you want to have on hand for Dagron and the Pirate Master. Meantime, Mijati has returned to Saliva Island because this part of the game you have to find 3 sarcophagi to get a secret code, and one of them is here on Saliva Island. And this is also a good gem farming spot in case you need to do that sort of thing.
Yes, in fact, routes where you have to get a lot of gems tend to use that spot pretty heavily.
Right, I just earlier today, I think I got about 60 gems out of there.
Activated.
And you can see how nice pirate flares are, just skips the trek back.
Right, the whole section he might have had to walk back through, instead he just waits a few seconds and he warps himself to the beginning of the island. So pirate flares are pretty invaluable for this run, which is why we get 7 at least.
And Goofi going for a oh, maybe not.
Yeah. Or maybe so? Yeah, he is. Meanwhile,
And those skeletons on that bridge can drop Pike Balls and Super Pike Balls. Mijati didn't get any, though.
yeah, they're pretty finicky, but I don't know, we'll see. They can be a really generous source of Pike Balls, or they can be like they are now and just do nothing. 2 Pike Balls, which is better than nothing, but some Super Pike Balls are really great to get out of that crowd.
Fish, fish, bird.
Alright. Everyone in chat, remember fish, fish, bird. Oh, Mijati's trying again with the Scorp guy. And he gets... Super Pike Ball. Meanwhile, Goofi, he's now on Saliva Island. We'll see if he's gonna grind for any gems or if he's just gonna go straight for the sarcophagus.
Mijati is now in, sorry, go ahead.
No, your thing is more
I was
important.
going to say, Mijati is now in Tanline Temple, which is interesting. It's sort of the Metal Gear Shantae part, where she's dressed as a space princess.
Right, she has been stripped of her clothes and of all of her items and pirate gear, so now you have to move super slow, and if you're caught by any of these guards, you're sent back to the beginning, so this section can be a big pain.
What's interesting is it's actually the same outfit as she has in the magic mode of Risky's Revenge, but that's just a bonus little thing, so in canon, she's never wore this outfit.
He's taking it nice and slow here. He doesn't want to get caught. That is a kind of a difficult climb.
If you get caught, you get sent back to the very beginning of where you started the stealth, no matter which one you get caught on, which can be really bad in other routes where you have to go through more than just the first area. But in this one, we're only going for the first area, which this is the last room here coming up.
Yeah, you could still lose a good solid minute out of here, though, which would be really bad.
Yeah.
He's also getting more gems, so I wonder what he's going to buy when he goes to the store.
Maybe a some silky cream or something.
Meanwhile, Goofi, he is doing some shopping right here. Bought himself
Oh,
an
he
auto
rebought.
card. Good.
And now here comes the big payoff for getting those keys earlier. Go right in and unlock all 3 of the doors in here.
Right, normally you would have to go through this, explore this big, huge temple. Oh, Goofi gets a bubble shield. And it takes a huge amount of time and it's not fun, so instead we just get keys from elsewhere and we just skip like 3/4 of it.
And bubble shield is actually really important for the final boss.
Right, we'll touch on that more when the final boss actually comes about.
And Goofi getting his enchanted blade, which is suspiciously cheesy.
Pike ball, he's gotten five pike balls from these skeletons right here, but no supers that I can see.
Gator fish bird.
Gator fish bird, remember that, chat. We're all depending on you. Anyway, Mijati, he has just finished Tanline Temple, so now he is going to get back all of his abilities and items. So now the game can proceed normally, and he's going to head for the 3rd dungeon.
Goofi also getting a super pike from the Scorp Girl.
Looks like... I wonder if Goofi is planning another shopping trip. Usually people do at least 2. Sometimes people will do 3. Alright, so Goofi is about to enter Tanline Temple. And Mijati is saying nuts to those other Scorp gals. He's tired of grinding.
Or not.
Nope, he's gonna... Oh, wow. Good intuitions there, Mijati.
I think he's good on super pike balls for the rest of the game.
I think he is. I think he might want some more monster milks. I think Goofi has had most of the monster milk luck. Alright, let's see how he handles the block room.
And Mijati getting his bubble shield too.
And,
2.
Oh, you could use one of those at another boss if you want.
Or in this room.
Oh yeah, this room is pretty terrible in itself.
But he got through it pretty good.
Pike ball.
Using one of his many pipe balls in this room. Now here's the 4th Scorp Girls encounter.
Some gems. Is it 300 gems right now? Oh, and a super monster milk.
He really wanted that, I'm sure.
Oh, he is trying for the crusher skip. Let's see if he can pull this off. Oh
Nope.
no. That's
Yeah, if
unfortunate.
you get perfect timing, you can rush through and not have to wait a cycle.
Right, it's not easy to do. You only have like a window of a few frames to pull it off.
I've never done it, although I haven't tried too often.
Trying is an important first step in doing.
And here's Squid Bear, everyone's favorite mid-boss.
Johnny, he is going all out. He's using a super monster milk and a super pike ball. And wow, I think he may have actually done that a little bit too fast. Let's see, is he gonna get immediate cake? Oh, nope, he knows what he's doing. Oh yeah. He's basically, he knows the... Oh my goodness, that was so fast, I can't even talk.
That was a really good Squid Baron.
Oh, exceptional. Basically, the Squid Baron works on a scripted cycle of attacks, and if you know what you're doing, you can manipulate him into giving you a really favorable cycle so that you can just wail on him at a certain point and get lots of damage. So now he's completed third dungeon, just as Goofi finishes Canline Temple. Gives Mijati a healthy lead, but, you know, still lots of run left to go, so we'll see what happens.
And Mijati going back to Scuttletown because he has to pick up the death mask so he can actually get into a room that... or get into the... past the gatekeeper. Yeah, the Village of Lost Souls. Or else, because if you don't, well, then you have to go through Mudbog more than once, which is not fun.
No, Mudbog is terrible. It's probably the hardest section to do casually.
Well, the hardest section that we do here to do casually.
Alright, Mijati buys a Super Pike Ball, a couple Super Monster Milks, and a handful of Pirate Flares. He's probably set for the rest of the run.
And it's very tricky to get the speeding through this. So let's see how Mijati does.
Rep to go.
Is this the most popular category? I am going to take a look right now and see.
Probably is now because of the tournament, but before this I would have said any percent with out of bounds was.
Yeah, looking at the leaderboard, it appears that this is currently the most popular category on speedrun.com.
And Mijati getting through that with no problem at all. That was absolutely probably perfect.
Yeah, very nice work there. If you know what you're doing and you know when to jump, you can easily breeze through Mudbog Island. But if you get stopped anywhere, it can be a nightmare.
And the enemies can just pile up on you. And now Mijati's going to collect these 3 coins that he's going to need to... Ooh, Goofi having his auto potion used again.
Oh, that is not good. I don't think he wants to waste money trying to get another auto potion. Maybe he will. Ooh, and he smashes his face into a wall. So neither one gets the Crusher skip, which is unfortunate.
Goofi having a little trouble with this Crusher.
We'll see how well you do in your face with a Crusher, man. Those are hard.
Hey, I'm not actually in the tournament, I'm just talking.
I guess that is a fair point. Alright, so we'll see if Goofi has some good luck with the Squid Baron. Oh, he's piling it on. He's going Super Monster Milk and Super Pike Ball.
And Mijati using a technique just to save a small amount of time where you grab the item from below the platform it's on and then you just drop down and have the fanfare. It's a small time save, but it's every little bit helps.
Goofi, I think he's trying to use a food item, but you can't do so in the middle of the cutscene.
Yeah, a number of times I've pulled up the menu and tried to use a food item, like, why can't I use this app? And here Mijati is everyone's favorite RNG game. It's basically a heads or tails guessing game, and we don't know. It's RNG. So everyone just chooses heads, heads, heads. And then eventually you'll get it because the game allows you, will automatically do it for 3 tries, and then unfortunately Goofi has died.
Yes, Goofi, he has forfeited from the race, so Mijati is the winner by default. That's really hard to see. Sorry about that, Goofi. You were doing very well, I thought.
But Mijati does have to finish the round for it to be official.
So, I don't know what happens if Mijati also dies. Then we sort of have a weird tie situation. Maybe they'll start again. Yeah, that is an unfortunate end. Sorry, always hard to see that. Unfortunately, not the first forfeit we have seen in this particular tournament. it can be much easier to die here than you think, and when you die, you go back to your last save, and usually, if you're speedrunning, that's at the very beginning of the game, so your run is basically done.
Yeah, obviously you can save a lot, but obviously that takes time, and gotta go fast.
Right, it's a balancing act for sure.
Meanwhile, Mijati is skipping through almost all of the Uberless suffering because of Risky Shuffle. Even though the speed item is the item you get in this game, they don't intend you to use the Risky Shuffle to have such short platform runways.
Right, so normally you're supposed to go through the whole dungeon solving puzzles in order to make a big long platform for you to walk on, but instead you can just immediately skip everything with no trouble. Mijati having a little bit of trouble here, and Dagron. Dagron is for sure a major run killer.
And he could just be annoying. If he hits you, then you kind of can get in a cycle where you can't really compensate too well. But Mijati doing really well.
Alright, he gets... That's a pretty solid Dagron, aside from that first hit.
Tinkerbats. Oh yeah.
And interesting fact is that the Village of Lost Souls is sort of considered inside despite being outside. So you actually have to trek all the way to the beginning of it to actually use the pirate flare.
Well, I think this is like the only... No, these are other runbacks that you're forced to do, but this is by far the longest one. But he gets out of there pretty quickly. That's well done. And now we are moving on to the final major island, Frostbite Island.
Which has wolves that do 6 hit points of damage, and that's pretty bad because you only have 8.
Let's go.
Right, going through here casually is very tough, and though in pirate mode it's not so bad because you can use a combination of the dash, the hat, and the cannon to basically fly over everything and avoid the wolves entirely.
Yeah, usually it's not too hard to miss the wolves. As long as you know a couple places that are important to jump, you shouldn't get hit.
Yeah, it looks like Mijati knows where to jump. Though he is hitting a couple of these wolves. If you know exactly where to jump, you can avoid hitting anything and save the maximum amount of time, but it's not easy.
That said, as long as you're running, you're gonna kill the wolves. So it's just a time loss, it's not a pain loss. And Mijati using these chains, it's always fun to watch floating up the chains like that.
Baby's got me locked up in chains. So now he is in Propeller Town, and if this were the out of bounds category, we would skip basically the entire thing.
But nope, have to go up the long way, but still with the cannon, it makes it a lot quicker.
You basically fly, dash through everything, except for these little sections here, which you do have to actually somewhat skillfully navigate using a hat and a cannon.
But you have cannon, in casual you don't have cannon, you just have to use the hat, and those blocks can be annoying.
Yeah, those basically, I don't think we've seen anyone touch spikes yet, but it's basically the same as the water that they touched in the secret dungeon. You take 1 damage and you're instantly warped back to the start of whatever room you're in.
Mijati getting through this really smoothly.
I forgot you could even go and cannon that way. I'm gonna have to do that. There we go, a nice, clean Frostbite Island from Mijati. Well done.
Grabbing the targeting module from Bolo, which will be important in a minute. But first, everyone's favorite part for real, perhaps. Oh, wait. Yes. First, we have to go to Spiderweb Island to get the Soul of Joe. Forgot about that.
Right, not quite that time yet. This is, I think, like the one sequence break we still don't know how to pull off. Probably because we just can't.
It's also probably one of the things that people forget about a lot, I would say. That and the fossil, the death mask.
Right. It's not. In neither case, it's not very intuitive to go back to a previous island when you're so focused on going forward. And right here, you can take that death mask and give it to Abner, and you'll get a pirate flare in return, which is going to save you the 30 seconds or so it would take to go back.
Alright, and now this is an interesting spot.
He's gonna make his way back to the palace for right now, because he's gotta fetch a couple of workers for the ammo baron right now. Oh man, he just narrowly misses the heart squid of shame.
Twitch and Vinegar are their names, although we don't see that.
Right, they don't get names until the next Shantae game.
No, I think they actually get names here, don't they?
Dude, I've never seen them. I didn't see them until I played Half Genie Hero. Anyway, this little guy here. He looks familiar!
He looks like He-Man. But he's totally not He-Man. I mean, he is, but isn't.
Right.
But is.
This is Chinese knockoff He-Man right here. Anyway, we went and got Twitch and Vinegar. Now we have to resurrect Barracuda Joe. And there we go. And now they've broken up. There is no such thing as happiness in Sequin Land. Alright.
And now, because of Bolo, whether it's incompetence or not, well, that's happened.
That was supposed to destroy the Sequin Land Palace, but instead it destroyed that guy and opened up the entrance to the final dungeon. Now this is another dungeon right here that goes extremely quickly. It was designed for you to not have the cannon, and it sort of like taunts you by putting things just out of your reach that you could have if you did have the cannon, and so you can just grab everything really quickly. That's one key, he's gonna get another, and then a third, and then that's pretty much the dungeon.
Yeah, normally you have to loop all the way around, grab the cannon, go up here, this and that. But instead, you just come up, get these two keys, and then you can go right into the final area.
Right. Probably out of food to skip that animation, but he's already skipped many. Alright, let's see if he gets trolled by ice blocks. That can happen to you sometimes.
Yeah, and that ice block can just drop on you randomly. It's just like, ah, where'd that come from?
Let's see. Oh, nope, ice blocks were nice to him today.
Now this is possibly the worst RNG in the game.
Right, this boss here, basically you have to jump up and hit the 3 buttons on top with your cannon, but you have to hit them in a specific order, and you don't know the order offhand, so you just have to guess.
Oh, using the bubble shield so he doesn't have to duck those projectiles, not a bad idea.
Yep, that is a good time saver. Normally, if you screw up, you're gonna have to fall to the ground and duck down and miss a cycle, but he can just get right to it. Wow, nice guessing right here. Mijati's gonna have a very quick RNG maggot.
Yeah, that was pretty quick. You can one cycle it if you have upgrades, but I think without the upgrades you have to two cycle it.
Right.
Is that right?
Yeah, that is correct. And even if you have max upgrades, if the last button you hit is the one near his head, you will not get to his tail in time to one cycle it.
But still, a two cycle is great.
Yeah, that is good work by Mijati. He's been using his items well. He's looking at a really nice time here, like a 53-54.
Time to go to the final island, which is really just cutscene and in and out, and in this case, we don't really see anything.
Right. So this case, this is where we inadvertently... Oh, and he's going to swag dash in like a boss. It is doable with max upgrades from the first button, but it's tight. Okay, I've never seen it pulled off, but I've been out of the game a while. And so now that story bit's out of the way,
And
all messed
as you
up.
notice, Risky's not there either because she got stolen. And now it's all dark, new music, flashing Shantae. It's quite a thing. Heading into the final dungeon, which even without Out of Bounds, we're just gonna skip, which you really doesn't have anything to do with pirate mode, because you could do this in normal mode too, since you already have all the upgrades at this point. What is going to happen is you essentially can get a very small amount of height by using the hat. So by using a specific combination of hat and cannon, you can make it just high enough to get to the next ledge.
Right, exactly. This section of the game has always been terrible for speedrunning, and we basically never learned how to do it because we never had to.
Right when the game came out, we had to, but the skip was figured out pretty quick, I would want to say, within the first week.
Oh yeah, it was basically no time at all. I think it was definitely less than a month. He's having a little bit of trouble here. It is a very precise, I want to say almost pixel perfect skip, so it can be finicky.
And you can do it in a couple ways about the order, but once you know your own order comfortableness, you probably want to do it the same each time.
So now Mijati, he's going to go off and fight the Pirate Master. I'm pretty sure he has an auto potion.
He didn't say, but he has at least one bubble shield, which is incredibly important because the projectiles that the Pirate Master gives will one-shot you. But the bubble shield will basically make you not take the damage at all.
Right, it will completely nullify these bullets, and so the only real danger you have at this point is accidentally running into the Pirate Master, which can happen.
But it doesn't kill you. I think it does 4 damage?
Yeah, it does. Yep, right there, it did 4 damage to him. But nope, that's it for him. GG, Mijati.
53-31.
His official SRL time is going to be a 53-34. So well done to him. Yeah, SRL timing will differ very slightly. Well done to Mijati. That is an excellent time he just put up.
That was a very clean run, I want to say.
It was well done. No major mistakes that I could see. Again, apologies to Goofi. That is a rough lot, unfortunately. Let's see. It looks like Mijati is in the waiting room. Let's go ahead and pull him in here. If Goofi wants to join us for an interview, he can as well. Can someone pull Mijati in? I seem to be unable. Oh, I'm force clicking this dumb thing. No, Melodia, can you bring Mijati in here? I can't seem to.
I have no idea how, actually.
Just
There he is.
He magicked his way in. Hey, Mijati, GG. Well done.
Yeah, GG. What happened to Goofi?
He died to Dagron, was it?
It was a Squid Baron, I believe.
Oh, right, Squid Baron, yeah.
Ouch. Never fun.
Oh, he actually lost to an auto potion and had to buy another one, and then still. So yeah, he was. But your run was great.
I disagree, but that was an awful run. I don't know what I was thinking in Run Rotty Tops, and that climb was just dreadful.
I don't know. These are small things. I think we tend to be harder on ourselves. I saw a very small number of mistakes being made.
Yeah, I mean, beyond the run and the climb. But, you know, you had a great Squid Baron and a great Empress Spider and even a great Steel Maggot.
Yeah, I'm annoyed at that Steel Maggot because I should have, if I hadn't missed that one shot, that would have probably been a gold split there, but unfortunately, no, just messed up. But yeah, that was a really good RNG on Steel Maggot.
Sure. So what? Yeah. Well. Yeah. Do you have any other general thoughts on your performance? You seem a bit down on it.
I mean, I'm happy to win, although not in the circumstances of Goofi dying. But yeah, happy to be 2-0 now, but would rather perform better. I mean, I've done half a dozen runs over the last day or so, and this is by far the worst of those. So I have over a minute behind my PB, which I set this morning, but it's just been, about 30 seconds behind what I've been averaging, which I guess isn't too bad, but I had a lot of pipe balls at the beginning, and that's where most of my RNG seemed to go.
For an over 50-minute run, 30 seconds isn't much at all.
Yeah, 30 seconds more than it should be, though, but yeah, I'm happy I won.
So you've got, do you have any other races scheduled? Do you know when you're going to be racing next?
Nothing scheduled yet, but yeah, presumably soon. Don't know. We'll have to see. Might take a break for a few days or so, though. Maybe later in the week.
Yeah, you've been grinding away at this for quite a while, it seems like.
Yeah, I've been, especially the past few days. Sort of, I took a couple of days off after my last race, but yeah, the past day or two, I've just been, ground out that half a dozen runs, as I said.
Well, good luck for the future, and if we can see more runs like that, I think the tournament will be quite entertaining.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's been a really good tournament so far, and I imagine it will get even better as it goes on.
I think so. Once we get into the higher levels and everyone starts having closer, more similar times, I think it's going to be really interesting to see.
Especially as people start de-rusting as well and getting into the flow of it again, I think, to see times plummet.
All right. I think anything else, Melody? I have anything else you want to add?
No, thank everyone for watching. I don't know if there's anything next on Speed Gaming or anything. Haven't checked myself. On this channel, I don't know. It looks like most of the focus right now is on Speed Gaming 2, where they're doing a Rockman 2 Any Percent tournament. So we'll probably be hosting that as soon as we're done here. But yeah, it seems like that is going to be it for us. Thanks, Mijati, for coming in. Condolences to Goofi. That is a pretty rough way to end a match, but you're still doing well. I think you can pull this out. Yeah, I mean, a tournament like this, one loss isn't gonna smash anything. Right, especially with one win under your belt already. So, yeah, I think that is going to be it for us. Thanks again, GG, to Mijati for both. Thanks both runners for running. Thanks Melodia for co-commentating. Thank you, TSD. Yeah. All right. And thanks everyone for watching. Please give these runners a follow.
and stick around for what I assume will be some more Mega Man. So yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you all around.